Hello friends, Celeste here. I'm going to show you how I made a one-page folio. I'll walk you through the last one we did, or the last one I did, sorry. And then we're going to make this one a little bit different. So let me just move this to the side. This was the last one. Walking through, so you've got a couple of tags on the front, butterfly, and it opens like this, pulls this down. You have places for photos here, and on the inside. And then you've got this one here, and here. And oh yeah, and one more little hidden pocket down here at the bottom. So this is the one I made the other day. This is using, I believe it's called the Floral Butterfly. This is a very tight, snug fit. The one I make today, we will not make quite so snug. In any case, I'm going to move this out of the way and we'll get started on today's. And today I'm going to be using the Delightful Daffodil collection, and I think it lends itself very nicely to albums because it's already designed to be flat. It just has beautiful images, and I just love the blue and yellow. The papers are absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite leftovers. So anyways, lots of pretty things. Mostly we'll be ignoring these bigger pictures because our little folio only measures 4 by 6, and so we're going to get started with that. And so what you'll do is you'll take a 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock, and forgive me while I get my little spectacles on here. And so what we'll do is we're going to score this in half at 6 inches. It's pretty easy just to bump it up against the sides and press it down with your fingers like this. Just want to make sure that everything is even. However, sometimes it's not before I get to really scoring it and making it stay. So that's your base. Now you're going to make a quarter turn, and we're going to score it at 4 inches and at 8 inches. And you're going to flip the whole thing over, do it again. Let's see, let's score it this way because obviously this isn't a perfect 12. This is a 12 and an 1/8 or something. So we're going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. So here you have basically the basis for your folio right there. And then we're just gonna embellish it, put it together. So now once you have this scored, turn it back again so that the short edge is up here at the top. And you're gonna score on the 1/2 inch mark all the way down to the bottom. You can do that again on the other side if you like. I always like to make sure it's scored well. And then put this aside for just a moment. Get out my handy dandy Fiskars cutter, and we're going to put this where we can see the lines line up with that groove there. And we're going to just cut all the way up here to 4 inches. Then we're going to pick up the blade and we'll come up here and come down to the 8 inch mark. I know you can't really see where I'm going. You just have to watch the marks on your blade and the tool that you're using. Some people use scissors, and that's perfectly fine. So that's that. Sometimes what I will like to do is I may like to trim it just a little bit extra along here. Let me get back that cutting thing, because just because of the folding, sometimes it just doesn't always seem perfect. So just a hair over where I cut before, if you want to, you can cut a little, just a hair more. Certainly an option, and maybe one that you think up that you want to do at the end of the day. Just snip that little piece right off. Again, you can do it on this side, just a tiny little bit. Don't want to reinvent it, but go all the way up here to that mark. And that way you have a little bit more room for when you're doing your folding. So that'll be all the cutting. And this is our one sheet wonder. So now we're going to make the top. We're going to fold one in and fold the other one to the back. Let me get my little folder thing. So you're going to go like this. Then I fold the other one to the back. So that way any extra thickness is the same on both sides. Like that. And then another thing that I like to do is on mine, on this particular one, I'm going to have a little ribbon up here on the top. So I'm going to measure that 4-inch area, and I'm going to come in. This is just a guesstimate, of course, I'm not perfect. I'm going to come in 1 inch from each side, so at the there's a 2-inch gap between each. And I'm going to use a little punch so I can thread a ribbon through there. And this is my handy dandy punch. It's got a rectangle. So I know I can do 4 pieces at once. Try to make it as even as I can so it's a straight cut. And then making sure you know that it's straight here. I'll do the same thing. This one, making sure I have it straight. Then I'll take this flap out, fold this one over, kind of recut it again in the same place where it was before. And over here. All right, so that's the beginning of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue all this down. So you're going to open your page up. And I just use this Designer Dries Clear because it actually does dry clear. You could use score tape though if you wanted to. Doesn't have to be too perfect. I mean, it's just glue. And I'm just going to cover this up. Okay, come back over and press it down.
Hey, gorgeous.
Hey, honey, I'm doing my video. Okay, and then we're going to glue them down on the sides here. So that matches up pretty good. Maybe not perfect, but pretty good. And then we'll eventually cover this with a pretty piece of paper. You could always do it this way if you wanted to. Doesn't matter. Some people like that look because then it's all nice and straight. it's going to be covered up. So it's your choice. I just like the symmetry of the same thickness on both sides, which is why I do it this way. So let me put my little pin in here. Go in. Go in, go in, go in. All right, and then I'll fold this back over, make sure the holes line up. And then you might make sure that glue is set up real good with your bone folder. And like I said, at the end, the final thing, of course, is to take a piece of decorative paper to put on top of there. So the first thing that I'm going to do now, the first one I did that I just showed you guys, I had folded this piece here down like that and made a pocket on the outside. But because I'm using the daffodils, I think that this time what I'm going to do is fold it the other direction and instead, and so instead of folding this one out, I'm actually going to fold this inner one in. So you take this page right here, and you're going to match this corner like so to the side where that fold is. All right, so you know that's going to work. And you always have the option, of course, of doing it this way, and then you could have more than one decorative piece of paper. As a matter of fact, I think I forgot to cut an extra piece of paper for this. So what I like to do, what I'm going to do this time, though, is I'm going to just have it in here. And so now that we've got this base piece already glued, now you're going to need to glue right here and right here. Just a thin bead of glue will do it. Little dab will do ya. And so I like to go put my glue in the valleys instead of in the mountains. So there's that one. And this one is another valley fold. So I'm going to fold this down like so. And we're going to press those down and just give it a minute to dry. Then the other little piddly thing, whenever you're doing folds like this, sometimes things don't line up real perfect, and so you may decide that you need to even things up with your scissors, and I can see that there's a little bit right here, so I'm going to even that up. But it opens up pretty good. So I'm just going to come over here to my cutting board. Excuse me just a minute while I do this. I'm going to even that up. And just that little tiny bit. Say just a little tiny piece of paper. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to glue this down. So you're just going to apply glue along here and the bottom, and then you have your pocket. But, oh yeah, but before we do that, we have to have something back here. So let me see, I think I forgot to put a piece of paper in there for that. Let me just find something I can use. All right, bear with me. So the measurements, like I said, are 4 inches. So it's going to be 4 inches wide, and although the book is 6 inches tall, if you include this measurement, of course, is going to be 5.5. So I'm just going to quick look at my scraps here and see if I can find something that I can put in there that won't make me sad to cut. That's my biggest problem with Heartfelt Creations. I have a hard time cutting the paper. It's so pretty, I just want to leave it. So I'm just going to put this in here. I'm going to trim that down real fast. So I know I want to cut it at, it's a little wrinkly over there. So I'm going to cut it over here. I'm going to cut it not quite at 4 inches. I'm going to be like 3 15/16. So there you go. And then for length, it's not quite 5.5 inches. So cut that down, and then I'm done with this, and I better close that. Alrighty. Sorry, I thought I had all my scraps all prepared, but I left out one. So before we glue this down, we're gonna have to put it back here. So let's do that. Almost hate to cover that up, don't you? Maybe I'll do it this way, and then I've got, yeah, maybe I'll do that, because then I've got a little bit of pretty there. Looks like I didn't quite get this 5.5, so let me trim off a little bit more. It won't really matter since it's down under, so I'm just going to cut it quite a bit to make sure I don't have to do that again. So put a little glue on here. This is a new bottle of glue, and I guess my old bottle was getting thickened. The glue was thickening. This just comes out so smooth. I hadn't realized, I guess logic only tells you glue is going to thicken after a while, but I didn't realize in my bottle it would. So we're going to press this here, leaving just the barest hint of white edge, right? Press that down, and now we can glue this piece down. And you want a very thin bead because this is your pocket, so you don't want to have too much, or you won't be able to get whatever you use for your pocket, for your tags, you won't be able to get it in there. So that's there. Again, we're going to make sure it's well adhered. So there's the pocket. And now I'm going to get to assembling the rest of it. So I have several choices. This is going to go up here. Put that to the side. These are going to be my fold out, so they'll come down like this, right? Put that to the side. Some other things we'll get to in a minute. That goes with that. All right, here's my cute little tags to pop in here. I made 3 this time instead of 2. And all right, here we go. So here's my choices. I cut these early, and I know on the front I'm going to want to put my flowers. So I'm not too concerned about it being extremely decorative paper because my flowers are the decoration. Let me just smooth that out again before it completely dries. There we go. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this one right here. And so let me just double check. Take a little flower, see how that looks. Does that look good? Maybe I want something else. It's kind of boring. Maybe, what else do I have here? I have these cute things. That'll be cute, except for maybe that should go, no, that shouldn't go that way. This would be a cute one. You could put that there. Let's see, how's that look on there? Is it getting too busy? I wish you guys could speak through the video and tell me which one I should pick. Let's see, maybe this one. What do you think? That looks, oh, this is one of the other fold outs, sorry, wrong size. Yeah, so those are my choices. I don't know why. This one, I just don't want to use that one. So Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. I think I will go with this one. And again, I already pre-cut some of these. Some are perfectly cut, some not so much. So I'm just going to glue this down. And I think for this one, that might be real pretty right there, or this one might be pretty right there. What do you think? Blue? I think I'll use this one. So with this one, what I'm going to do is measure exactly where I want to cut. So we've got to have a little bit of white showing. So I'm going to want to cut right here, and then right about here. So I'll just take this over to my cutting board and hope I can see my marks. Put this on here. Just cut it just there. Perfect. Okay. So here's my inside piece. And I can put that in now, or I can wait. I think I'm going to trim just this little bit, just so it doesn't hang over the edge there. Just a tiny bit. There we go. Teeny tiny bit. Trash. Okay, so we're going to take this, move it down, and it'll glue over here. You know, I probably should be outside weeding in the garden, but it is hot, hot, hot here in Florida today. And yesterday we had a heat index of 108. So I'm not too eager to get out there for some strange reason. Okay, sometimes, like I said, sometimes things will hang over. We'll just have to trim those as we go along. It's not a perfect science. There we go. So there's one little piece trimmed. And now you see how your pocket's gonna look. So you can, you know, whatever you like in here. You can see that's gonna be cute. Okay, so there's our pocket. And then for the front, we decided to use this one, which I think I'm not quite sure how I managed, but I cut it perfectly the very first time. All right, so just put a little bit of glue on here. And edges. And then lay that down. And we'll glue our flowers at the very end because, of course, they'll get mashed with all of our tossing of the book back and forth, up and down and sideways. Let's just put that out of the way. So there's the front of our book. And this we had folded, and we had glued and folded. Glued and folded. Looks like the glue got excited. Went lots of places that I don't necessarily want it to be. So we'll just open that up a little bit and press it down with our bone folder. If I know where my bone folder is, that would be great. Oh, there it is. There we go. So that goes like that. And this one will fold back along here. Okay. So there's our final book a little bit. Okay. And then this is going to be our pocket. So before I get too excited about anything, I probably should figure out what I'm going to have on the back so that I can do my pocket, and this is pretty. Maybe I'll put this back here. And it's cut good. So I'm just gonna lay this back here, and then I'll get my little punch. There it is. Put the out of the way. Put this on here. So obviously you don't have to do pages 1, 2, 3 in that order. I'm just going higgledy-piggledy with what works for me. I suppose I could do this at the end, but I have a tendency to forget to punch the hole, or the thumb hole, the keyhole, whatever you want to call it, if I wait too long, and then it'll be too late because I'll have some other piece of paper on the other side and I'll have ruined it by wrinkling it. So this is probably another Fiskars thing. So I just pull this up a little bit and bring it in, and I just sort of eyeball it. Well, actually, can't do that, can I? Have to actually see where 3 inches is. Not 3 inches, 2 inches. Let's try that again. We know this is 2 inches, right about there. So I'm just going to put a little tiny mark right here. I'll pick this up, slide that in. It'll be easier to guesstimate from here. All right, and there we go. We got a cute little hole right here, and if there we go, little piece came off. Okay, there. So now we have a little thumb hole, so we can make something, a little pocket to go in there. And look at how far we are already. Now we just have to decide what's going on for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So I have some of this here. Let's see, this is a long one. I think I'll put this one in the center. There we go. And I got these spare pieces over here for the fold outs. We'll just do this first. I'll glue this one on. There we go. Put this down. Okay. Slip this up all the way up to the top. And then adjust it so you see a little bit of white there. There we go. So I've got that one. And then what else do we have here? We could do this one if we like. Let's see. Now a couple of these we'll have to put an oval on, and I think I'm going to put this one over here. See what else I've got here. Hesitate to cover some of these things up. They're so darn pretty. Do you ever find that when you look at these Heartfelt Creations things, you're like, no way, I cannot cut this paper. No. So, now these have a little bit of extra white showing, but I really think that that's okay. I brought a little bit of this in case I thought maybe I wanted to add a border That's always an option if you want to bring it down. So I've got to trim the edges just a tiny bit, and put that one there, and I have one, oh, it's right there. And then this one can go here. Let's see. On this side, we can have this one. And then we've got one more big page, or not page, but paper to put on. Oh, it's a blue. You can just do a solid blue right here. So put this one on here. Okay. Somehow I feel like I got that one. Guess that's what I decided to do. I feel like a pattern should actually go on this side. Yeah, so think a pattern. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Glue this piece on. Just thin little beads. Okay. There's that page. And I think, what did we decide looks best with this one? Did we decide? Greenish, pinkish. I like this one. Okay, so we're going to glue this on, and then we're going to add just a little bit of trim to the top, right up there, to make that look nice. Okay, almost there. All right. So I'm going to put this on here, just so. And then I have to trim this paper. Let me cover up my glue with my pen. Have to trim this paper down exactly to that point. Put a little mark on here, a little mark right there. Go trim that real fast. Okay. So that's going to be like 3 15/16 if you're the sort that wants me to tell you every precise amount. And then I want to trim this a little bit. It just seems to me a tiny bit too thick. So I'm gonna take off a smidge, if it'll let me, if I got that right. There we go. Okay, so that's how we do that. Put this to the side. Then I'm going to glue this on top there. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Look at how far we've gotten already, my goodness. Goes really fast when you have everything pre-cut, let me tell you. Not so fast when you're trying to think up what you should put on each page as you're doing it. But that's part of the fun. I really like playing with the papers and trying to decide what would look best here, what would look best there. Okay, so we've got these two. This one's going to be here. And where did I put that other paper? Lost it somewhere. Well, I know this is one of them. Oh, it's right there. Okay. All right, so make sure the letters straight. Yep. Okay, thin bead of glue. You know, I used to do everything with score tape, then I got lazy. So this is what we have now. So we're just going to put this on here. And then we have this one to put on. And you know, I really can't decide. It looks like the butterfly is going up, but the flowers are going up and down. I think I'm just going to leave it at the bottom. But I do need to trim this just a smidge. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's going to take a little bit off of each side. I mean, truly not more than, you see the thinness there. Then I'll have to remeasure each time to make sure that I haven't cut too much off. Just a little bit more. So do this side. Probably not as thick of a piece as I did the first time. There we go. And then this goes to not quite 4 inches, right? And we also need to narrow it just a smidgy. So I'm going to put that there and there. This just holds it still because it's so narrow my fingers won't be able to fit under there. There we are. And then hopefully I'm done with this trimming. Okay. So let's put this on. And up here. Alrighty. So let's set this up. Would have just a little tiny bit of white showing all around here. Press that down. And then put this on top. So then you basically have your book here. Now we just have to work on the inserts. So this goes up here. There we are. Okay, so now you see what you've got. Got this one here, which is stiff, and I need to, because we glued it, right? Now the glue is letting us know that it doesn't want to bend. Okay, so too bad. Bend it, it will. And then you've got your pocket here. Got places for photos here, here, a nice place here, and there. And this goes on top. And then you've got the back, and then you just make a pocket that goes in there. So sometimes what I'll do when I have it like this, before I give it to somebody, is I'll hold it down with one of those clips so that you train the paper to be the way you want, right? So I'll get some clips and I'll just hold it this way. And then I probably wouldn't give it to somebody until the next day anyways, but that'll help train your paper. So meanwhile, we're going to want to, oh look, I see why we have a problem. That's just a little bit too thick there, which we'll take care of with an X-Acto knife later. Okay, so now we want to put that aside because we're going to make our inserts. So you're going to take this little piece of paper, which was an 8.5 by 11, which I cut down to It's, just a second, we'll measure it and find out for positive shore. Looks like it is, yes, 3.5 by 10.25. And then you put the 3.5 by 10.25 up here along the top of your score pal, and you score it at 5 inches, and then you score it at 9.5 inches. And you're going to cut your paper. If it's an 11, you're going to cut off 3/4 of an inch of that here. And you can see this is going to fold back like so. And then we embellish this. So it's your choice. You can put it on right now and then start adding your papers, or you can embellish it and then put it on. Your choice, doesn't matter. So I'm going to put one, I think, right here, and then the other one can be exactly on the other side, or here. I'm going to put it here. So to let me put this up here for us. So to embellish this, you're going to have one paper that is not quite 5 inches by not quite 3.5 inches. It goes on the inside, right there. And I'll glue this one down first before I do anything else. And then you'll have 2 more papers. And here we are. So you just have to kind of decide where you want them. This one is for the other one. Okay. So this inside is going to measure, okay, so let me see, how far was that? It was 5 to 10.75. So this is not quite as long. You just measure it out. Your folds may be different. So we're going to put that in there, and this is the one that put whatever you like in here. And then on the back side, we'll do it again. This will go in here. And then we're going to fold this down and glue it. And we're going to cover it up with that. But not before we put some of this on. I'll show you that in a second. That's the first thing we'll do, is we're going to glue this on there, because I want to trim the corners of the flap with one of my punches, which may seem silly, but it's just a little detail I like. So I'm going to put this on here, almost perfectly the same. So it's 3.5, there we go. And then I'll do that with this one over here as well. As soon as I find it, there it is. Put this on. There. So now what I mean by trimming the corners is, let me just find it. I put my punch under here, sorry about that. Under the drawer, where are you? Yeah. So I have this little punch, you can see that cute little design. So I wanted to have color underneath. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna cut this corner and this corner so it'll have a little airy space. I always do it this way. I stuff it underneath here, and when I get it where I like it, punch. There we go. Paper everywhere. Same on this side. I just put it in here. It's a very thin piece of paper, so you got to make sure you don't get too far and mess up your punch. So then I've got this cute little paper, see with the cutouts, and when I put it on top, then you just have a little bit more of a decoration. So we'll do that real fast. All right, so there's one of them. And we'll just put this on top. Now, if Heartfelt Creations had made their paper one of those kinds where it didn't matter upside from downside, you wouldn't even need the white. I've done these in the past where, and I'll show you one in a minute, where all I did was have to fold the paper and the other side is what made the pretty decoration because that's just how their paper was. But I wanted to use the Heartfelt Creations paper because I just really love this particular paper pattern, so that means I have to go to a little bit of extra work, and that's okay. So I have these two right here, and I'm going to take all these pre-cut pieces, that's a spare, and that's for this one over here, so I'll hold that there. And I'm going to decide where everything goes, and some may need to be trimmed down, some may not. If I hold them all up together though, I'll know which ones are my two longest. Because when I did this last night, I did have a method to the madness. Okay, so these two are the tallest. So that means that this was my intention to put this one here, and the other one will go on the other one. So let's do that real fast. And it means I may need to trim the others because I know I cut them to 3.5 inches, but not sure if I cut the lengths appropriately. So I'll just put this like, oh, this is grass, so I'm going to put the grass at the bottom. Snuggle this in here, press it down. Same with this one. This is actually a corner piece from something else, but I needed a spare piece. So put this just below the white and snuggle it down to where you want it. And then you decide which one you want to have on which page. I'm not sure it even matters. Nope, I'm not sure it even matters, but I'll put this one here. So I'm going to adhere the back of this to the blue. Here we go. All right. So you just sort of center it. You just sort of eyeball it, really. It doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. Unless you're a mathematician, then I guess it matters. Okay. So we know we have this, and this is a photo spot. And then we have all these others that can go with it. I really love this gate thing. I wonder if it'll fit here. I do know I had intended this to be underneath. So, oh, I know what happened. I decided to make a different fold up here after I cut it. So, let's just see where I need to cut this baby. So I'm going to flip it upside down, put a couple of marks on my paper with my pencil, and then cut it. I'll do the same thing on this one. This is so pretty. that should go like that. So we will flip this one over again, make a couple of marks with my pencil. There we go. We'll get those cut. And since we're double checking everything, if we have this one on the inside here, it will need to be cut. So, best laid plans, right? I had all this, I thought, so perfectly cut last night. But, no. So I'm just gonna cut just before where that fold would be so that it's got room to fit in there. Okay, and then this again will be the same thing, but I think I can cheat because I know where I'm going to cut. So give me a minute while I cut this. Step over here, and we will take that and that. Okay, and then we have these two to cut also. Goodness. Oh yeah, I cut on the other side. Okay, so put this on here and make sure they're lined up with each other. You know how they say, measure twice, cut once. So that's what I'm doing. I'm measuring twice here. There we are. Okay, so I have all my papers. I'm sorry I didn't have it in advance. Sorry about that. So now I'm going to, this one I know goes on the front right here. Put that on. There we go. Set this up. There we are. You want it underneath the fold, otherwise it'll be real thick like that place over there where I glued a little bit. And then you're going to glue this side down. And this goes like that. And we just have to decide what goes in here. There it is. Two choices. I think I'll use this one. Obviously I like all the paper, but sometimes I think, you know, oh, this is more yellow or this is more blue, and that's why I choose different ones to go in different places. Not because I like something more than something else. And of course, the sad part is all these pretty papers, the whole idea is we're going to cover them up with photos. That's all right. So here's the pocket, just an idea, not pocket, but the fold out that I was talking about, so you can see that's what you're going to see. No magnets or anything. It's thin enough, and if you're worried, you just burnish it a little bit more with your phone folder. And so now we'll do the inside and glue this down. See, now if I'd been smart, now that I'm looking at it, I would have reversed these two, because the majority of this paper here is going to be covered up. And again, you just try to center it as best you can, just eyeball it, put it down. There we are. And I believe we had decided this one went on the inside. I can't decide. Should I put it this way? Seems like the butterfly is floating up, and it seems like this is an arch, so I'm going to do it that way. Alrighty. So we have that there. We fold that up, burnish it again. And then we're going to put this one in here, fold it down, and then we just have a little tiny bit left to go, and we're going to be all done. There we are. This goes here. Alrighty. And that nestles right underneath that fold. Just snuggle it in. We're going to glue this part down, remember? And I'm going to pick this up, slide that glue along the side, and I think I'm going to be different on this one and have a different cut on the edge. Let me see what I've got over here. Well, that's kind of cute. Let's see, where's that one? That's a snowflake. Oh goodness. I have so many corner punches. I just need to pick the one that I like best. So, not that one. Let me see how this would look in here. It might be too big. If I push that in there, oh, that might be fine. I think I have another one. Let me just see. Got a little tiny one somewhere. Maybe not. What's that? No, that's not gonna work either. Fudge. Well, I'll try this one. We'll see what it looks like. So I'm gonna stuff this under here to where I think I've got it just right. Punch. Oh, look at that. How easy was that? And then I've got to do that this way this time. But I have to line it up so it just hits the edge there so that it's the same as the other one. Alrighty, there you go. So we'll glue this one on. Okay. And then basically we're all done, and you could stop right here if you wanted to. Let me just put this on here. You could stop right here, but we're not going to. We have this little piece right here. I'm going to cut to that, and we'll put marks in it and cut the holes, and then we'll do it on the other side as well. Actually, you know, you probably could just wrap it around, but that would be too easy, wouldn't it? So we're going to measure this out. Just a little snip. And then we're going to see where exactly, you know, this is a cheater's way to do it, but it works. I'll line this up just so. I'll flip it over. I'll put a mark in here. And I'll do the same thing on this one. Cut that off right about here. And a mark in here, and a mark in here. All right, so let's just snip this off. And theoretically, if these are marked at the same place, I should be able to snip them together, right? Where's my little puncher? There you are. So try to be straight when you line it up and put it on here. again on this side. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we get to glue them down. All right. A little bit, a little dab will do you. That must be from some commercial from the 60s or something. I don't know why I keep saying that. There we go. It's not exactly perfect, but it is almost perfect. I can trim that tiny little bit off quite easily. If I could get my scissors under there. There. And then this side. Okay, and this side. I don't know if there's an up and down or not. It's just going sideways for me. Okay, I think we're gonna go this way. There we are. And that one actually fits perfect. Okay, so there's pretty much your book. Do need to make a tag for this, but I'm not going to spend the time showing you how to do that because I know you know how to cut a 4 by, well not 4, 3.5 by 5 inch piece of paper. I do have an example of one though, just a little bit on the long side, and you'll see this just snuggles right in there. So this one you can choose if you're going to mount it on white or if you're going to have just one thin piece of paper, because this is another option for where to put your photos. So, but the last little bit, so normally I would have had a special little oval that I cut out of my ornate ovals. Let me show you the die cut. But since this has an oval here already, I am not going to cover that up. I'm just going to leave that alone. I'll show you my ornate oval so you'll know what I'm talking about as soon as I find it. Oh boy. Well, it's in here somewhere. And let's see, ornate ovals. Hold on, there it is. Okay, so it's this one right here, and what you do is you use this large one to cut out your oval, and you leave all the paper in there because you're going to put a photo on it. But you can see why I don't want to do that here, right? On the other hand, I probably will put one here. But like I said, just in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that right now. And but we are going to glue on our flowers. Well, maybe I'll have time while my hot glue is heating up to make one of those ovals for us, because this always takes a little bit of time. My glue gun here, and then okay, so put this here, and put this up too. Put these things up. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I'm really torn on whether or not this is going to need to have a ribbon. So I've cut 2 ribbons, and I've cut some, I don't need that. I've cut 2 ribbons, and I've cut some little bitty, what are these called? Hyacinths. And I didn't want to just have flat ones. So what I did was I used the Perfect Posies. I'll show you that little die too. Where is it? Perfect Posies. So bear with me. Okay, so this little one right here, and I think I needed like 10 or 11 flowers, and then I cheated and I just used puff paint for the centers. And so that's how I made those, because I figured, you know what, if my daffodil is going to be dimensional, then I want my hyacinth, or the hyacinths to be dimensional too. So my dilemma here is what to do. So I'm going to fold this over, and this is going to go in the corner, and this is going to go in a corner, and I probably am going to have a hyacinth poking up there, maybe this one too, right? And I have a bud of a daffodil. This can go over here maybe, and turn that so, yeah, so the glitter shows. You guys can't see the glitter. Then I have a blue bow, which might go in there, and I have a white one. Can't decide. What do you think? I think actually I'm going to go with the blue. It feels softer for some reason. Organza is organza. I don't know why. Okay, so the method to my madness, I'm going to trim off these little bits of hot glue because I don't need them to poke up too much. So I've got my little pinchy thing. And that's a pinchy thing there too. So these are cute little doohickeys. Back in the old days when I used to make wedding cakes before I had carpal tunnel surgery, you get these things in white and you'll put them on, they're like you get them in the wedding section at the craft stores, and you put them in bouquets and stuff. And so I'd get the white ones and put them in amongst my gum paste flowers. But when I was shopping, I saw these gold ones, and I thought the gold would be perfect with the yellow daffodil. So that, I mean, I've made both, but that's just what I decided this time. So my method here, let's see, I know I'm going to, are you hot yet? Yes, you're hot. Okay, so this one's already sort of mashed. Yes, I could fix it. But this one has more sparkles. So I'm going to put the mashered one up here first, the sparkles one down here, and looks like if I put this here, I could put this here. So I better put my hyacinth on first. Okay, so are any of you guys familiar with the Bridgerton series that's on TV lately? Well, it just so happens I read all the books, and one of the characters' names is Hyacinth. I know you just needed to know that. There we are. And then I told myself I needed one more. So I'm going to put this little pink thing right here, right at the top. And then I have a little tool that I'll press that down with. It's not wanting to stick. Let's try again. I guess the glue's not quite hot enough. There. That'll make it stick. At least it better. There we go. All right, let me get this string out of the way. Okay, so I got my hyacinth on there. And I'll put this first one down, and this one will go like so. Okay, so first one here. And just hold it for a second while it does its deal with the glue. think I like to fold that under. And the second one's gonna go right about there. Better hope so, huh? Since I'm putting glue on it, better work out. And it will. Sometimes I like my petals to interfold, and sometimes I don't. In this particular one, I don't. I want that one to be down there like that. All right, so just hold this for a second, let it do its thing. Whenever you get hot glue on your fingers, it never dries quickly, let me tell you. Never cools quickly. And then this little bud, actually, no, that looks stupid. I will save that one for last. Let me just get these glue strings off of here. It drives me crazy. And then we'll put this little blue one up here. Okay. This one, actually, you know what? I don't even need hot glue for that. I'm just going to do this. Come on, glue, come on out. It's what happens when you don't put the pin in your teeny tiny glue thing, the little hole, as it dries. Okay. So just put this on here, like so. Bink, 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 bink. And then we'll snuggle that in there. 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 And then again, I'm just going to press this down. There you go. That should go on top of that. There we are. Go down. Okay. All right. And then, yeah, I think this one should go in here. Because if I put it anywhere else, it will distract. I don't want to distract from that little daffodil there. Not even sure I need another daffodil. Tell you what, we will put on the bow first and then we will decide. So I have a cute little tool that my husband made for me that helps me make these bows. But whenever I put the glue on, I make sure I pull everything out of the way, because you know I really am not fond of getting hot glue on my fingers. And then I'll stuff it in here like so, and then get that out of the way. There we are. And then you just rearrange your bow however you need to make sure it doesn't interfere with your flower and puff it up. And I just press down here. There we go. So that's basically our book here, our little folio. And we just I can't decide, but if I do put this on, it's going to have to be underneath that petal. So yes, I should put it on underneath that petal. Let's see, I put some glitter on here, so that's the top. I'll leave the glitter. No, I want to put this on the bottom. Okay. I hope I don't regret this. I hope I don't think to myself, oh, it looked better without. There we go. So, did I learn my lesson about putting the lid on my glue? No, I did not. There. So here we go. Back, obviously, I'm going to have to come in here and trim that off with an X-Acto knife. But you've got a couple of tags in here. Usually I only put 2, but for some reason I just saw some paper and I thought I needed to use it. Got that. So this one obviously this is just decoration. No picture, or you could maybe, if you wanted to put a a little message. You could put a message up here, you know, like spring 2021, whatever, which was a disaster at our house. And then you've got pictures. You can put a picture here and here, picture on here. You can leave it plain. I'm going to cut out an oval, like I said, to put on there. This one here, another fold out, picture, picture, picture. I'm going to leave this alone just because it already is an oval and I like it that way. And then on the back, I've got this one. You can leave it alone. You can put a picture on it. And this, you just make yourself a 3.5 by 5 inch piece of paper that fits in here, and you can make it double-sided, you can make it single-sided, you could just make it white, or one of my favorite things to do, quite frankly, is I have these little lined cards, and I'll trim this down, and you've got a nifty little journaling spot, and it goes this way. You can journal this way, or you can do this. So this is actually, I think, a very neat little trick, and you just have to trim it to fit. And then you've got built-in journaling. And so anyways, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun making your own. And so, yeah, you basically use one piece of paper to make your folio. And if everything, oh yeah, I said I was going to show you something. If everything was on a double-sided paper where it didn't matter, I've got one to show you over here. I've got a couple I can show you. So I like to make these little books, obviously. Let me put this out of the way. So here's one that's like that. So you see how this is one piece of paper and this is the back side. So it's much thinner, and all you have to do is fold. You don't have to have it white and put another piece of paper on it, because that's how this came. And then there's your pocket. And this one particular one, I did upside down. But there's so many cute fun folds you can do with paper. This is another one that's a single book. I'll show you how this one goes. This is almost a square. It's a 3 by 4. It's a single paper. I just drew these lines on here. And it opens this way. This pulls down. And you've got piece of paper here you can put a photo on. If I was going to do this again today, I probably would have made this maybe something different, and that kind of glues together. And then when you open it this way, you've got photo corners, photo spot, another photo spot, and another cute little thing here. But the basic book is just this one little thin piece of paper. It's pretty cute. Oh yeah, and a journaling spot to boot. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you have fun playing with your own paper. Have a good day.